ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागंसस्तनूभिः विषेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ. O Lord, please give us good health. Please make our every organ healthy so that we shall hear good, see good, and we shall do good. Om, peace, peace, peace. Dear devotees, if you remember earlier, we were discussing the three states of consciousness. That is the prasthanatraya vichara. Avastatraya vichara. Avastha means state of existence. Vichara is discrimination or trying to understand. And regarding that, we already saw the Jagrata Avastha, that is the waking state. What is waking state? We all know that. It is our day-to-day experience. So, what the Upanishads are going to tell here? The Upanishads are going to tell here is our physical body, gross body is active, okay? Our sense organs, either sense organs of knowledge, sense organs of action, karmendriya and jnanendriya, both are active. And apart from that, our mind, our will, intelligence, everything is active here. Our will is also active here. Our mind, the four actions of the mind, doubting, thinking, memory, judgment or willpower, everything is active. Okay. Now, the third question was from Gargya, who experiences the dream? That was the third question actually. I'm having a dream, okay? Say I'm having a dream of playing a football. Okay. So in my dream state, who is experiencing the dream? That was the third question, third sub-question by the Gargya. So that will be answered, or that is answered in the fifth mantra. So if you want me to tell what happens in the dream state of experience or in the dream state. In the dream state, your gross body is at rest. Our physical body is at rest. Okay. Our sense organs, both 5 sense organs of knowledge, 5 sense organs of action, both are also at rest. Okay. And our prana, which is a mechanical action, it doesn't happen with our willpower. That is, all our mechanical activities or automated activities are in force. In the dream state, our mind is active. Body is not active. Body means the physical body is at rest, and our sense organs, all the 10 sense organs are at rest, but the mind alone is active. So that is what we can see. And our willpower is also inactive there actually. Our doubting faculty, our judgment faculty, or our decisive faculty, willpower, everything is dormant there. I mean, everything is inactive, but only the memory part of our mind is only active. That is called chitta. The memory part of our mind alone is active. Okay, keep that in the mind. Then we shall go to the mantra. We will see. Atra yesha devah swapne mahimanam anubhavati. Yad drushtam drushtam anupashyati shrutam shrutamevartam anushrunoti. देहादिगंतरश्चैव प्रत्यनुभूतं पुनः पुनः प्रत्यनुभवति दृष्टं च अदृष्टं च श्रुतं च अश्रुतं च अनुभूतं च अननुभूतं च सत् असत् च सर्वं पश्यति सर्वं पश्यति. The overall meaning is very simple. In this dream state, the mind is experiencing the greatness. What is greatness is the mind is experiencing the dream state basically. Whatever we have seen, whatever was seen in the waking state, it sees again. I mean, the impression based on the waking state, again we are experiencing it. Whatever was heard in the waking state, based on that experience, again we hear, that is in the dream state. Whatever was perceived in the different places and in the different directions, it experiences again based on our impressions. And it perceives all that was seen or not seen, heard or not heard, perceived or not perceived, whatever is real or unreal. This is the overall meaning. So now let us go into little details you'll be able to understand. Atra swapne. In the state of dream, what is happening? The physical body is at rest. The 10 sense organs are at rest. Okay. Yesha devaha mahimanam anubhavati. This deity enjoys its own glory. Deity means here the mind actually. Why it is called deity here? Deva means what? The illuminator. Because the mind illumines. Just like for an example, we have got a light here. The light illumines the entire room. As a result, we see every object, everything in this room. So similarly, the mind is illumining things here. So the mind has taken three aspects: experiencer, experience, and experienced. For an example, I am eating ice cream. I'm enjoying my ice cream. So I am the experiencer, and the object of experience is what? The ice cream, and there is an experience eating and enjoying. So similar, but there is an object here, and there is a mind or person, and there is an action here. Now the similar dream is happening there is a dream experience called ice cream experience. In the dream state, I'm experiencing that I'm enjoying the ice cream. Is there any physical ice cream there? No, actually. But my experience says in the dream state, there was a physical experience. There was a physical ice cream. So here the mind has taken the role of experiencer, experienced, that is object of experience, and the experience, the action. All the three role has been taken by mind alone. That is why it is called Mahimanam Anubhavati. So the mind is enjoying in its own realm. For example, I am driving in the motorway. There is no traffic, there is no vehicles at all. I am enjoying my drive in the motorway. So here in the dream state, the mind has taken the role of experiencer, experienced, and experience. That is why it is called Mahimanam Anubhavati. So here the mind is illumining the object and also experience. That's why. So basically here the creative power, the imaginative power of the mind is referred in the dream state. Now, one important point we have to understand here. So the mind is projecting the world actually. In the dream state, you had an experience of going to your house, or you were meeting your friend, or you were quarreling with your colleague, or you went to hotel and you were enjoying different delicacies, or you have gone to the mountaineering, trekking, whatever, different type of experience. Good, bad, happy, unhappy, neutral, different type of experiences we are having. All that experiences has been imagined, created, or projected by the mind alone. Okay. And how this is being created, imagined, is it created out of nothing? No. So it is created out of our memory. So I have experienced in my waking state, either in this life or in my previous lives. All my experience have created an impressions, which is called samskara, and the samskara is stored in my mind, which is we call subconscious mind. So whatever in subconscious mind, a thought and impression comes above surface level, and that takes a form, and that's what we get experience. Sometimes we feel when we had a dream experience, we get up, we wake up, and we say, oh my dear, I never seen such a person. I never went to that place, or I never had even thought of this thing, how it happened, why it happened. Because I might not have seen such a person, I might not have visited that place, or I might not have experienced a situation, but still I had a dream because of my past impressions, that is from the past life. That has been told here. So yat drushtam, whatever we see, whatever we perceive, whatever we experience in the waking state, drushtam anupashyati. The same thing, what do you say? If not the same thing, it happens again. It repeats again. Yat, yat you have to add every time. Yat shrutam artham. And whatever you have heard, anushrunoti, again you feel that you are hearing. For example, you are a musician or you love music and you are hearing the probably A.R. Rahman music or probably some other very great musicians' music, either Eastern music or Western music or a classical music. You are a music lover, you had heard and you enjoyed. Okay. And in the dream also, you are hearing the music. And in the dream, you are hearing music that was based on your waking state experience. Pratyanubhutam deshadigantaraihi, which is the perceptions and experiences belong to different places, different quarters or different directions. It happens. Punaha punaha pratyanubhavati. You experience it time and again. So this is, we all know that. Drushtancha adrushtancha. Whatever is experienced or seen in this present life and whatever we have experienced in the past life, everything is stored in our mind. So we have a single mind which has come from thousands of years. I might have got 10 years, 10 lives, or 20 lives. All these 20 lives, my physical body was different, no doubt. My subtle body is the same. My mind is same. So mind is a storehouse of all my impressions. Till whatever the lives I have taken, whatever experiences I've had, most of the experiences are stored in my mind. So there are yogic practices. By doing practice, that yogic practice, special practice, one can even try to remember what all things I have experienced. And interestingly, in the Greek philosophy or Roman philosophy, there is called theory of anamnesis. The theory, it is given by Plato. It is very interestingly they discuss. Now, how the soul or the spirit forget about the past life. They say once we are entering the mother's womb or when we are coming out from the mother's womb, there will be pain, there will be contraction. Because of the contraction, the memory gets failed or we forget about the earlier life. That is what their idea or description. So basically, drushtancha, drushtancha, whatever we see in the present life and whatever we experience in the past life, based on that, we get different type of dream state experience. Shrutancha, ashrutancha, whatever is heard in the present life, whatever we have heard in the past lives, we might remember, it might repeat. Anubhutancha, ananubhutancha. We have experienced something in the life, in this present life. We have not experienced in the present life, but we have experienced in the past lives. Even based on that, we may experience the dream. Now, one more interesting point you see, the dream state, how beautifully, how deeply, like sizzling out, thread by thread, they have explained. Then satucha, asatucha. Whatever is true and whatever is false, even the dream experience may come. Whatever is true, whatever is false, what do we mean here? Whatever is true means, for example, I am seeing the ocean. I went to the Atlantic Ocean or I went to the Pacific Ocean and I swam across or I played in the water. So the same experience, I got it. Okay. The dream experience. The other time I am going we can't experience this in the probably in the Ireland much. Maybe in the Africa and in the Asia we can go, or in the America. It is a hot scorching sun. There is a road and you are driving. At the distance you feel that there is a water actually. Because of the scorching sun reflection, you feel there is a water surface or there is a water on the road. But when we go near, you see there is no water. So that is called mirage. There was no water actually, but my experience said there was a water because of the reflection of the sun and scorching sun. So here asat means whatever is false means whatever is mirage. Even that also can happen. Sarvam pashyati, sarvaha pashyati. So all is experienced and all experiences are happened only from mind and mind alone. So mind alone experiences everything and mind alone becomes everything. That is what the overall meaning of this. So with this fifth mantra, the third sub-question, what happens in the dream state, or who is awake in the dream state, or who experiences the dreams, has been told here. So the mind is experiencing and the mind is experiencer and the mind is experienced also. That has been told in this fifth mantra. But how the mind is active, how the mind is taking its action, or how the mind is performing its action, if you know, if you ask, then they say because of the presence of consciousness. That is called Chit or Atman or Brahman. Because there is a consciousness and because there is Atman, based on that, the mind draws the energy and the mind is active. Now, the fourth question or a fourth sub question is, what is the Sushupti Avastha? Now, Jagrada Avastha, waking state, we had seen in the last class. Now, dream state is over. The third state of experience, that is called Sushupti Avastha or deep sleep state, what it is. It is very interesting here. Let us try to understand. Sa yada tejasa abhibhuto bhavati. Atraisha devaha swapnat na pashyati yatha tadasmin sharire yetat sukham bhavati. When the mind becomes overwhelmed by the bile juice or by the solar rays, then in this state, the deity, means the mind, does not see dreams. At that time, there occurs the happiness in this part. Anyhow, here the Pipila, the Rishi, he has described the deep sleep state in a very poetical way. So now let us go in a layman's language, you will be able to understand. What happens in deep sleep state? Now, your physical body is at rest completely. Your 10 sense organs are at completely rest. Your mind is also at rest. So we are not aware of external world and we are not aware of internal world also. In the dream state, we were aware of the internal world. Now in the deep sleep state, we are not aware of internal world also. Okay. Then what the state is? The state is blankness, or it is ignorance, or it is only we experience the reflected consciousness alone. It is a state of blankness, it is a state of ignorance, and only the reflected consciousness is experienced, and there is no duality. Since there is no mind, no sense organs, there is no experience of duality. Since there is no experience of duality, there is no limitation and there is no suffering. There is only bliss, bliss, bliss. There is no suffering, means there is no dual experiences. So only there is the experience of sukha, the experience of happiness is there. That's why when we get a deep sleep for a few hours and when we get up, we feel our body and mind got rejuvenated and I became fresh. Why? There is no experience of the duality. As a result, no experience of limitation. And also interestingly, in the Swapna Avastha, why do I get a dream? Because of my actions. My mind is disturbed, or my mind has got a particular strong desire, or my mind had a particular strong aversion about a particular thing or a particular person. So basically everything is based on our actions. So based on our actions, the impressions, vasanas are created. Based on that, the Swapna Avastha is there. In the Swapna, no fresh accumulation of karma is there, but exhaustion of karma, exhaustion of prarabdha karma or vasanas happens in a Swapna Avastha. But in Sushupti Avastha, that is in the deep sleep state, there is no accumulation of fresh karma and there is no, exhaustion of the karma phala. It is only the state of ignorance. That is a beautiful state. Basically, temporarily, we are at halt, basically. There is a temporary halt. Okay. Now, we shall try to go to the slokas, then you will be able to understand, and which will be few interesting also is there. Saha means yada, when that, yada saha, when that deity, means that is when that mind. Okay. Tejasa abhibhutaha bhavati. So here, the person is been called, or the mind is called Tejas. Why it is called Tejas, now we will go into little deep for 5 minutes. So please bear with me. Now this Tejas or Tejasa has got two meanings actually. From the Ayurveda, there is a particular explanation, and from the Vedic scriptures, there is a different explanation. Let me try to discuss now both. Now, according to the Ayurveda, including Upanishads and Advaita Vedanta, this physical body is made up of 5 gross elements. In Sanskrit, which we say Panchabhuta. If you remember my earlier classes, you will be able to remember one is earth principle, then water principle, air principle, fire principle, and the space principle. So the permutation and combination of these 5 elements, our physical body and gross body is made up of. Okay. Now, in our body, there is a lot of spaces. Our stomach is full. Why? Because that space has been covered by water or the food. So there is a space, okay. And this physical body, the external skin and all, is what made up of mainly from the earth element, okay. And apart from that, according to the Ayurveda, there are three components which is called Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. When this Vata, Pitta, Kapha, when these three things are in a what do you say balanced state, our health is good. If the balance is imbalanced, if the balance is disturbed, then we get diseases. In the allopathy, our diseases are tried to handle by suppressing things actually. But in the Ayurveda, they try to balance this Vata, Pitta, Kapha, and by some becoming something more, or something deficiency this happened, they try to balance this Vata, Pitta, Kapha. Okay. Now, according to the Ayurveda, this Vata component comes from Vayu Tattva, that is air principle. And the Pitta, bile juice, comes from Agni Tattva, fire principle. And the Kapha, Fel Mandal we speak, and the Kapha it comes from the Jala Tattva, that is water principle. Okay. Now, for example, someone's body is almost all the time it is very cool. Oh, his body is very cool, very cold, we say. Why? That means he has got Jala Tattva prominent in his life or in his body. Now, someone very hot actually, even sometimes, even in the cold season, when you touch his body, his skin, you feel that is very, the body has got a lot of temperature. It is not the fever temperature, I mean to say, general temperature, the skin temperature. Why? Because for him, Agni Tattva is predominant. That means Pitta, he has got more Pitta. And in some, the gastric, rheumatism, and all these things are much problems we see people. That means in them, the Vata component is more dominant. Now, why in some Vata becomes dominant, in some Pitta becomes dominant, and Kapha becomes dominant in predominantly because the Ayurveda and the scripture says because of our prarabdha karma, because of the actions we have done in the previous lives. Based on that, our body, which will be dominated by any of this principle, has been decided. Okay. Now, according to the Ayurveda, this Tejasa or Agni Surya, they're telling in the Upanishad mantra. Why? Because this Tejas represents Pitta, means Agni Tattva. That's why they use the word called Surya. Tejasa means Surya they are using. Why? Surya represents Agni Tattva, fire principle, and that Pitta represents the bile juice. Now, according to the Ayurveda, this bile juice or the Pitta is a component which blocks our activation of the mind. As a result, we go into deep sleep. How deep sleep happens? In the physiologically, our bile juice blocks the activation of the mind, it seems. I think there's also one more, tablet called magnesium. In that magnesium, if you take, we get a very good sleep generally. Our quality of sleep gets increased. Why? Probably, so it is affecting our brain or our mind. That's what it is told. So this is what the Ayurvedic concept of Tejas. Now let me go into the Vedic concept or Upanishadic concept. Now the person who is experiencing the waking state, for example, I'm giving talk, you are all hearing the talk, we are all in waking state. So we are known a common gender or a common name which is called Vishwa. And when we are experiencing the dream, either he or she, any person, the person is called Tejasa. And a person who is in deep sleep, any person across the globe, he is called Prajna. Now here, Tejasa means the Chaitanya Tattva, that the reflected consciousness. Now, that Tejasa abhibhutaha na bhavati. Abhibhutaha bhavati means he is overwhelmed and he doesn't see the dream. Because Tejasa means the person who is in the dream state. So when he enters the deep sleep state, he gets converted. He is named into Prajna, and this Tejasa becomes inactive. That is been told in the figurative sense here. Tejasa abhibhutaha bhavati. The Tejas becomes dormant. Means he doesn't have dream state. He has slipped himself into deep sleep state. Okay. Atra, in this deep sleep state, where you don't have any dream, any experience or whatever, Yesha Devaha, this deity means who? Again, this mind or this Chetana Tattva, Swapnat na Pashyata. Napashyati swapnam. He does not experience the dreams. Means basically he has gone to the deep sleep state. So he is experiencing the total ignorance. Tadaitat asmin sharire yetat sukham bhavati. Therefore, when we go to the deep sleep state, what happens? What happens in deep sleep state? That was his question. So here the Rishi is telling, when you go into the deep sleep state, your body is at rest, your sense organs are dormant or inactive, your mind is also inactive, you are experiencing the happiness, or you are experiencing the reflected consciousness alone, you are experiencing the what do you say, reflected consciousness. Now, when I use the word blankness, we have to take it very carefully. When I say blankness, it is like a Buddhism, they speak of shunya, the void or empty. We don't speak that. When we say the mind is blank in the deep sleep state, that doesn't mean that it is void or it is not, it is neither void nor empty. It is not blank. Then what it is? Here, everything has gone to the seed form, or it has gone to the agrahana, we say, from the Mandukya Upanishad language, if you say agrahana, means everything goes in the dormant state. For example, in the milk, if I ask, can you, from milk, we all know that from milk, yogurt has been formed. And also from yogurt, we can make butter. If I ask, where is the butter or yogurt in the milk? It is in the dormant state or it is unmanifested state. Okay, then how to find out? Then heat the milk, then add little yogurt and keep for some time without disturbing. After a few hours, you can see the milk has been transferred into the yogurt. So the yogurt was there in the milk, but we were unable to see. It was dormant. So similarly, when we say it is a blankness, we experience blankness means there all our samskaras and all the whatever the things is there, everything is in the dormant state, unmanifested state. And whoever has read the Nasadiya Sukta, there all these things has been discussed in detail. So that's why for us, zero is also very valuable. Zero and infinity we have found out. And I think Albert Einstein speaks. We are grateful to the Indians. Why? Because without the invention of the zero and infinity, of course, the maths concept of infinity is different and our philosophy concept of infinity is different. But otherwise, the zero and infinity without invention, the maths would not have progressed so much. Albert Einstein says. So far as zero means it is complete, it is not void, it is not null actual. So why? It is the state of unmanifested state. So in the during deep sleep state, that's what we experience. Means there is no duality, there is no dual experiences, there is no problem, there is a complete what you say, happiness. So no deha abhimana, no mano abhimana. I am the body or the embodied self, Jivatma Bhava is not there, and no notion of feelings and etc. As a result, aham anandam anubhavami. Once I get up, I tell that I had a deep sleep, I feel fresh, I had a beautiful sleep and had a good experience or whatever. So etat sukham bhavati. This happiness is occurred. Now, interestingly, when I was in Belur Math, and we have a training center for 2 years. There every day we have got 5 classes, and we do discuss a lot of things: Indian philosophy, Western philosophy, psychology, then different subjects we read. So we were discussing about Mandukya Karika actually. There, this Sushupti deep sleep state was happening. The teacher was discussing, the learned monk, and he was telling that we experience the happiness. So even the deep sleep state is also called samadhi in Sanskrit actually. So one monast in brahmachari or a novice, he mistook the samadhi to the nirvikalpa samadhi. And then he started asking. He innocently he asked, then what's the difference between the samadhi, which is deep sleep state, and the nirvikalpa samadhi, where we experience our real nature? What is the difference? He asked. So interestingly, the teacher, instantly he he gave a pun actually. He told very clearly, before going into sleep, you were ignorant or you were buddhu. You were ignorant. You had a deep sleep, and after again getting up or coming out from the deep sleep, again you will be buddhu only. So before entering into the sleep, you were buddhu, and after coming out from the sleep, you are buddhu only. Means ignorant person. And before getting into this nirvikalpa samadhi, you were buddhu, you were ignorant. But once you had the experience of nirvikalpa samadhi, and when you come out, you will become a buddha, you will be an enlightened person. That is the difference. I mean, he gave a very pun statement. Why? Because the happiness which we experience in the deep sleep state, it is only reflected consciousness. The consciousness plus ignorance is there. That is why we get a part of consciousness reflected, or reflected consciousness experience. No experience of duality and experience of reflected consciousness, but it is not real. But whereas in Nirvikalpa Samadhi and in the deep sleep state, it is unconscious. Whereas in the Nirvikalpa Samadhi, ignorance, the layer of ignorance is been removed. And not only that, you consciously you experience who am I, and you will become that. You will become that means again the ignorance layer is being removed. That's what we mean there. So that is the difference between the Sushupti and the Nirvikalpa Samadhi. We have to understand. So basically, in the Sushupti, you are experiencing the reflected Ananda, reflected consciousness. In the Nirvikalpa Samadhi, we experience the virginal consciousness, or the Atman, or the Brahman, or the consciousness itself. So in the Taittiriya Upanishad, it has been told the Sushupti, or the reflected consciousness, as a Anandamaya Kosha. Okay, so with this actually, with the six shlokas or six mantras, the avastatra vichara, the three states of experience which has been discussed in a detailed way in the Mandukya Upanishad, or with the Mandukya Karika, this has been told just in the six shlokas in this Prashna Upanishad in the fourth chapter. Now 7 to 11 mantras, avastatraya abhinna sakshi, that is the witness who was there in all these three states of experience and who is beyond these three states of experience. That you can say consciousness, you can say witness, you can say Atman, you can say Brahman, whatever word we may use it. What is that? He's been told, or he's been explained from the 7th to 11th mantra. So the commentators say that this is the essence of Vedanta. If you can understand from the 7th to the 11th mantra, then you will understand the entire Vedanta. Probably you may need not to read any other Upanishads also. So let us try to understand the 7th mantra, what it is. So in the 7th mantra, the 5th sub-question is being asked. So Gargya was asked, what did he ask? The 5th sub-question was, where does everything rest or based upon? Okay, in the deep sleep state, what is the deep sleep state we have experienced? Now he's asking, what is the substratum on which everything is rested? This is what the empirical science is also trying to tell from the Big Bang theory. The world, how it started, it made some bang, there was some sound. From that, the elements or the molecules or the gas or whatever it came, from that everything came. So from one element, from one source, the whole world has been emerged, including matter, mind, and the life, organisms, and all. The science is also trying to search for unity, and the Vedanta is also trying to search for unity, and it has achieved, whereas empirical science has not. And one fundamental difference between the science and the spirituality, or the Upanishads or the Vedanta, is for the science, matter is important. From the matter, mind and the life, including the consciousness, has come. And for the Vedanta, it is other side, other way. From the consciousness, the mind and matter and energy, everything has been emerged. That is the fundamental difference between the scientific approach and the Vedantic approach. And also interestingly, I think recently the science has accepted the condensed form of energy is what the matter or the mass. So according to me, so from the matter, they have gone to the prana level. From prana, they are yet to go to the conscious or the Atman or the Brahman. Okay, so where does everything rest or based upon is the fifth question, fifth sub-question we shall try to see in the 7th mantra. Sa yatha somya vayasi vayamsi vaso vruksham sampratishtante. Evam havai tat sarvam para atmani sampratishtate. It is very simple mantra actually. So the Rishi, the Pipila, the Rishi is telling very clearly for Gargya, the disciple, pare atmani sarvam pratishtante. Where everything rests upon? That was the question. He is telling sarvam pare atmani sampratishtanti. The entire creation, everything, every being, everything rests upon the Atman and Atman alone, or the self alone, or the consciousness alone. So what is this Atman actually? The Atman is what? Nothing but Sat Chit Ananda. Existence, awareness, bliss absolute. Okay. Now, Saha, that illustration is been given. What is that illustration? Yatha. As so Soumya. So I think the guru is giving an adjective for the Gargya. Oh, you are good looking one. Good looking means you are a decent boy, you are a gentleman, or you may be good looking one also maybe. So he's using the word for Gargya. Hey Soumya, oh good looking man, oh gentleman. Vayamsi. Vayamsi means birds actually. So even the fleas and many other organisms also can be included in this Sanskrit word actually Vayamsi. But generally we take the Vayamsi means birds. Vaso vruksham. Vasa means actually Vasa means stay. The residence, the place of residence. Vaso vruksham. The things which are residing on the tree means birds actually. Sampratishthante. Just like the birds reside on the tree, evam havai, just so as tat sarvam pare atmani sampratishtanti. So similarly, everything, the entire creation and every being and everything is been entirely residing upon this Atman or this Brahman. Now, how to understand that? I will give a simple example. I think in Tattva Bodha, Aparokshanubhuti classes, I have discussed these things in detail. Now, for an example, we will take the Sat part. Sat means what? Existence or a pure existence. Okay. Now, Ireland exists. Ireland is existing, or the bird is existing, or the birds are existing. Then ice cream is existing. Then the shop is existing. X is existing. Y is existing. All these things we can give on examples. There, in everything, there is a one common word which is called existence or isness. That isness or existence itself is called Sat actually. From the Sat part, the existence has been borrowed. Every object and every being is borrowed this existence. It's abstract concept. You have to think little. It is giving like this. We can give an example of sugar. Okay, we mixed the sugar in the water and we prepared a sugar dolls. So I prepared a sugar doll like a maybe monkey or a pigeon, then parrot, then a boy, then a small toy, some star, some jellyfish, different shapes. Sugar dolls has been prepared, sugar sweets has prepared. But in every toy you take sugar sweet, you will say, what is there in this? It is a sugar. So pigeon-shaped toy or a pigeon-shaped sweet, what is there? Sugar is there. In the parrot, peacock, toy, or a man, or a vehicle, or a star, or a jellyfish, in everything, the sugar and sugar alone exists actually. So if you remove the sugar from all these sugar sweets, what happens? All that sugar sweets, it might have different shape, different color, everything ceases to exist because all that sugar sweets have borrowed the existence from the sugar. Sugar is the essence of all that sweets, sugar sweets, isn't it? So similarly, that this whole world has borrowed the existence from the Atman or the Brahman. That is called isness. That is called Sat actually. Now we are all aware of so many things, isn't it? The pure awareness, the basic awareness is what? The Chit actually. Everyone is aspiring for Ananda. Everyone is seeking Ananda, that is happiness or the bliss or the pleasure or whatever. Why? Because that is our inherent nature. And we are thinking the happiness is there outside, either in a person or in a situation or in an object or in a thing. But we understand after some time it is not so. We may get a partial happiness, but not complete happiness. Then where do we get complete happiness? That is in ourselves, because that is my real nature. That's what we read in a Kathopanishad. Parang pashyati nantaratman kaschid dhiragatmanamaikshat avrutta chakshur amritatvam icchan. So one who desires immortality, he puts his direction inward and he sees that there is a full of joy inside, isn't it? So this is being told in the in the seventh mantra. Just like the bird is resting on the tree, the bird is living on the tree. So similarly, the entire creation and every organism is resting on this Atman or the Brahman. So this is what the fifth question. So there is a straight answer. Now, the same idea has been discussed in the next three mantras, that how when we say the whole world is depending on this Atman, the world is resting on the Atman, the living being is staying in the Atman, the non-living beings are resting on the Atman. When we say general statement, what are they, how to understand this? That has been explained in the next three mantras. We shall try to discuss in the next class. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu. So this Saturday, I'll be going to Belfast for a satsang there. So Saturday talk will not be there, but Sunday talk will be there. Thank you. Yeah, any question? If you've got any question, any online participants?
Maharaj ji, thank you for the wonderful talk. I have one question,
Mhm.
actually two questions. So the first is, so when we fall asleep, so
Mm.
we are transitioning from waking state to basically a state of dreamless sleep, right? Because we do not directly get into dream. And then the dream happens sometimes later, right?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. For some, they may switch over to dream state, and from dream state, they may go to the deep sleep state. And
Okay.
people may go to dream state, then go to deep sleep, or some people may
Yeah.
go directly to the deep sleep state.
Yes. And now my question is that somebody who is directly in the deep sleep state,
Mm.
for so there already the, like as you said, only reflected consciousness remains, right? It is not interacting with the indriyas.
Yes.
For dream, then from deep sleep, what promotes interaction of the mind with the indriyas so that it projects a dream world? And like what pushes, if there is only reflected consciousness, what emerges first and triggers the appearance of a dream?
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, this can be explained from two, three angles actually. One, from the physiology angle, if you see, our sleep has got different cycles.
Yes.
Sometimes have a deep sleep, sometimes
Mhm.
it is not deep sleep, and sometimes it is a disturbed sleep, sometimes it is a dream state, all these types. Okay. So that is because of our the waves, the mental waves or the brain waves we speak. They're like there are different type of brain waves we speak of, like a theta, alpha, beta, and all. So based on that, it happens from the science we speak. Now, from the what do you say, from the Vedantic point of view, or from the philosophical point of view, if you ask, they only tell in the deep sleep state and the dream state what happens. When you go into deep sleep state, your mind becomes inactive. Your body is already inactive, your sense organs are inactive, and your mind also becomes inactive. That is what we mean say deep sleep state. So from deep sleep, if you are coming to dream state, means what? Again, your mind becomes active. That's all they say. But what is the how it happens, if you ask? Probably I can say that, as I was telling, that the bile juice or the vata or sorry, pitta. So the pitta had blocked the mind, so that the mind became inactive and you had a deep sleep state. And again, the I mean pitta became active, or the pitta stopped the blocking of the mind. Then again you got your deep sleep. I mean, sorry, dream state experience, we can say.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Maharaj. And the second question is, you said in deep sleep there is only pure ignorance which is remaining. So there is no duality, right? But then that is even the goal of, like, the goal of our exercise is to achieve non-duality. But then why is that non-duality called the state of ignorance?
Yes, it's a beautiful question. Now, I think, I mean, I'm not able to remember now. In one of the Vedantic text, in advanced Vedantic text, this question comes actually, because even I had this question and I had asked with one of our Acharya teacher. I mean, now we say, strictly speaking, our body is at rest, okay? Our mind is at rest, and our sense organs are also at rest. If so, then who was experiencing the deep sleep? Okay, first point. Then you say, oh, the Jivatman, the embodied self was experiencing. That means his consciousness is experiencing. That's the first question which comes to our mind. One is that. And second thing, if mind is dormant, if mind is inactive, because without any, what do you say, without vritti, we don't get the knowledge.
Yes.
Isn't it? Without vritti, no pratyaya can come and no pratyaya gnana can come actually. I'm using the technical word. So without the thought, actually, the thought current, we don't get any knowledge at all. Now, sleep is also, if you can take an experience, the experience it should include some vritti actually. And if the mind is inactive, if the mind is dormant, then there is no mind, then there is no vritti. Then how do we get the knowledge? It may be experienced, but how do we
Mhm.
get the knowledge that had a deep sleep?
Hmm.
So for
Yes.
that, the Advaitic text, Advaitic Vedantic advanced text, they say that in the deep sleep state, there will be a partial activity of the mind. I mean, partial activity means it is not a good example, it is not a good comparison. Just for understanding sake, I tell,
Hmm.
like maybe 5% of your mind, maybe
Hmm.
1% or 2% or 3%, just it is active. As a
Hmm.
result, when we get up, we experience or we understand that I had a deep sleep.
Okay.
The example can be understood like this. For example, if you have got a what do you say, Apple Watch. Now,
Hmm.
Apple Watch has got a particular way of a charging material, with a wire with a probably a €1 or €2 coin like. If you touch it with little sweat hand, you will feel little jerk actually. That means there is
Hmm.
a passage of electricity actually. If you are
Hmm.
sensitive, you will understand that there is electricity which is passing on your body, but you don't find any problem
Hmm.
because it is very what you say negligible. You don't get affected, isn't it?
Hmm.
So similarly, like 2, 3, or 5% of your mind is active in the deep sleep state. Also, as a result, you get the that what's your pratyaya, the nidra pratyaya gnana that had a deep sleep. But because 95% of the mind is inactive, so we as good as logically we can say it is inactive. That's how we say
Hmm.
it's inactive. That's how we get the experience of the deep sleep state. Okay.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
the second question, I mean, your question comes to now, in the deep sleep state, we are not experiencing the ignorance. Sorry, we are not experiencing the duality.
Hmm.
We are not experiencing the duality. Then why it is not, it cannot be equated with the Nirvikalpa Samadhi?
Hmm.
Why? Because in the deep sleep state, you are not aware of the duality, but however, your ignorance is there still with you. So, for an example, like the you can say that there is a light. Okay,
Hmm.
on the light you have covered a cloth, a cloth. Because
Hmm.
if you have covered a cloth on the light, there is a reflection of that. And
Hmm.
with the reflection, you can see few things in the room, no doubt, but you are not able to see the light completely, or you are not able
Hmm.
to get the light completely. Why? Because there is a layer which is obstructing it. So, in the deep sleep state, you are not experiencing the duality. Why? Because your mind is inactive.
Hmm.
Your mind is inactive, so you are not experiencing the duality, no doubt, but your ignorance still exists.
Hmm.
That is why it is old. That's why you experience a reflected consciousness or a part of happiness, but it is not complete. Now, in the Nirvikalpa Samadhi, what happens? In the Nirvikalpa Samadhi, your ignorance gets destroyed. One is that, and see, I think in Raja Maharaj tells very clearly, I think in Thakur also tells in Gospel in a different way that there are different stages of experience, Nirvikalpa Samadhis.
Okay.
Sri Ramakrishna explains this thing beautifully. Like he gives an example, like someone have viewed or experienced or seen the sea from distance. Say, for an
Hmm.
example, you have seen the Pacific Ocean from 100 meters distance. That's all. Now, someone has might have gone and just stood at the what do you say, at the bank of the sea, and they have seen the Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean. Someone has touched the water. Someone has swim across that.
Huh.
Now, all of us, we can say that I've seen the Pacific Ocean, for example. But my experience of the Pacific Ocean is different. Someone is from 100 meters, someone is from 0 meter, someone has touched the water, someone has swum across the ocean. So, similarly, there are different gradations Nirvikalpa Samadhi also. Now, when you are entering into Nirvikalpa Samadhi in the what you say, in the Vedanta Sara, this is explained beautifully. What happens actually? So, because of the Shravana Manana Nidhyasana, there will be Brahmakara Vritti will be produced. This Brahmakara Vritti, I think in the last Vedantic retreat, if you remember, one of the girl asked about this
Mhm.
Vritti
Yes.
Gnana and Pratyek Gnana. So that's again technical question there. So the Brahmakara Vritti removes your ignorance actually, isn't it? So in the Nirvikalpa Samadhi, the layer of ignorance is destroyed and you are consciously experiencing actually. So here it is not conscious experience, first and foremost. And second thing, it is covered with the ignorance in the Sushupti. That's why it is only you're experiencing the part of happiness or the reflected consciousness. Whereas in the Nirvikalpa Samadhi, the ignorance is removed and you are consciously you are experiencing the self or the ananda or the experience or whatever. That's why there is no what you say limit for ananda there in the Nirvikalpa Samadhi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Maharaj.